Welcome back! In our last lesson, we discussed how presenting information can mean different things to different teachers. That said, we gave 2 tips on how to present, and no matter what your views, we demonstrated the importance of 1, focusing on your ability to talk to learners, and 2, focusing on your ability to get learners themselves to talk. You remember? Of course you do! We discussed teacher talk and keeping things conversational. While these 2 skills will help you present, they are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to an understanding of proper presentation. There are all kinds of activities that can stimulate learners in the presentation of content. For example, you can use board work, diagrams, illustrations, and a clear set of rules. A very typical structure has a teacher first teach, then model, and question. Teach, model, question. In fact, let's talk about this basic model. In this traditional form of instruction, you first give clear rules and explanations. Then second, you show examples. And finally, you ask questions to verify that students understand what you have explained. It is pretty much as simple as it gets in the presentation of content. I use it all the time. But it isn't the only method. You see, I, along with many others, also love a concept called teaching using inductive reasoning. This technique is commonly applied when, instead of sharing the rules first, you put examples up on the board first, and then, second, ask students to come up with the rules themselves. While the first structure I mentioned, teach, model, and question, focuses on what a teacher does, this second structure, this inductive structure, looks something like this. Learners see models you have given them, infer from those models or examples by coming up with rules about it, and then elaborate. Model, infer, and elaborate. The teacher then takes those inferences and adds to or amends them. Now, why would I use this method? To be honest, it allows for students to struggle with language and come up with rules on their own. This gives students a chance to construct a language rule and concept for themselves and create a sense of solving a problem together. I don't do this all the time, but I certainly love putting the burden of responsibility on learners' shoulders and watch them rise to the occasion. All right, now let's turn to our 3 teachers to see how they present instruction. As you watch these teachers, think about how they present new information. What do they do to make information sticky? Do they employ visual aids, put key information on the board, ask students questions, and speak clearly? Perhaps tease out comments from the learners in order to develop a critical learning environment? Let's find out.
Okay, everyone. Today we are going to learn about these tricky little beasts called A and An. Do you have pets? I have 2 dogs. One of my dogs will follow me all around the house when I'm carrying bacon. He loves bacon. The other dog only follows me when I'm carrying stinky cheese. Ew! I don't know why, but my other dog loves stinky cheese. So, just like my 2 dogs, A and An only stay with certain words. I want you to see if you can figure out what words they like to hang out with. So I have written on the board here, it says, what is the rule? And under you see some examples. Can you see a rule? Can you find a pattern? Let's look at this slowly and see what you think. What does A prefer to be next to? And what does An prefer to be next to? Go ahead and discuss it with a partner. Okay, did anyone find a pattern? What is it? Vowels and consonants, good. Okay, what are those? Who can explain? Yes, good. But how about university? U is a vowel, right? So why is it A instead of An? Okay, now that we have discussed, I want everyone to write out a rule that might explain this grammar pattern.
Well, looks like this teacher decided to have students come up with a rule themselves rather than just giving them the rule. A little inductive strategy can be good. What do you think, Jill?
I like the analogy a lot. Calling A and An beasts and introducing pets is something that many students can relate to. I also like how she anticipates the fact that some students will think that the rule is just about vowels and consonants. So she includes the university example to help challenge students' initial ideas about what the rule is.
Yeah, getting things wrong is something that I have to deal with every day. That is thinking ahead. All right, let's watch Teacher 2.
Let's talk about past tense and regular verbs. Can anyone give me a verb? Let's look at these photos. What verbs do you see? Good. Now, a regular verb means what? What does it do to show past tense? I jumped. You jumped. He or she jumped. We jumped. They jumped. Okay, great. So what's the rule for the simple past? A regular verb. Just add ed. That's it. Good. And most verbs are regular. They like to follow the rules. Do you like to follow the rules? Yes, you're all good students. However, there are sometimes verbs that do what they want. They don't follow the rules. Too many rules. Do you ever want to break the rules? Yes. These are the bad boys of language. They don't like to behave. So who are these bad boys? Who are these irregular verbs in the past? I'm going to introduce you to 10 irregular verbs. Be, buy, go, drink, wake, drive, eat, run, speak, and teach, and how each one of them breaks the rules in their own way. Here's a sheet of paper that explains what each of these irregular verbs does.
Well, what do you think, Jill?
Jack, I love the analogy to those who obey rules and bad boys who don't obey rules. I'm sure the kids can relate to that.
I don't know about you, Jill, but I certainly relate to it. I'm a bit of a bad boy myself.
Yeah. Sure you are. So, moving on to Teacher 3.
Okay, good morning, class. Okay, let's come together. Last night for your homework, I asked you to watch 2 videos on 2 different learners of English. I also gave you a Venn diagram, which would be 2 circles, a chart with 2 circles. In the middle is where they have similarities, and the outside are where they are different. I also asked you to write your opinions on a discussion thread as well. Anna, yours was rather impressive. I would like to invite you to the board to write your Venn diagram on the board and then explain it as well. Thank you. Okay, class, let's come together again. I'd like you to get in groups of 4 and compare and contrast your own Venn diagrams with your groups or your partners, and then discuss how yours is different and similar to Anna's as well. All right, class, great, let's come together. That was a wonderful discussion. Thank you, I appreciate that. I heard some fantastic opinions and comments. Now let's come together and have a large group discussion. So we've learned strategies on how to learn English, and when you share your opinion, please justify your reason for believing that one learner is going to be more efficient at learning English than another.
Well, I've got to say, this is the most different kind of instruction. It looks like the students were really in charge of their learning in the assignment and then had to come together for instruction. Kind of a flipped model classroom, really. They listened to the instruction about compare and contrast at home, watched 2 videos about learners, and even did a Venn diagram on their own. In class, now it looks like they are discussing what they learned and eventually working on a project together. That is a flipped classroom.
A flipped classroom. Sounds intriguing. Yeah, I don't mind if things are a little different. I'm a little different myself. What do you think of his presentation skill?
I think it is strong. He presented instruction online and then applied what they learned about compare and contrast to an assignment. He even had a student get up and explain as a way of reinforcing the instruction. Do you see any kinds of problems with this model, Jack?
Not sure. I guess it seems like a teacher would have to stay on top of the online discussion.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes. It's an extra burden on the teacher and the students. Also, sometimes students in online discussion boards just say whatever comes to mind first, rather than truly participate in critical thinking. Online learning really promotes a finish quickly mentality, so the questions a teacher asks has to be just right.
Critical thinking, not one of my strong suits.
Well, there you have 3 different models of presenting instruction. What did you think about each of them? Each teacher had their own way of breaking down the content and helping learners connect with it in a way that made it sticky. Each teacher also had illustrations and examples of what they were trying to teach. In our next video, we'll talk about using illustrations and examples to help make meaning clear. See you then.